Winemaking is a beautiful blend of art and science. The art involves the individual decisions that you make that affect the wine, such as choosing barrels, blending decisions that can create something from the components. The science is everything that you use in the vineyards as well as in the winery to help craft that wine and make it work.
I would say one of my favorite things about the wine industry is that it's not the same thing every single day. You have times where you're out in the vineyards walking through the grapes and tasting and making decisions on when to pick, but then there's also times when you're in the cellar constantly doing yeast additions or nutrient adds. And then there's other days where you're in the lab mostly running a lot of analysis like SO2s or alcohols. And so you're constantly having new things to look forward throughout the year.
My position is a lab manager and enologist, and so that means that I help the winemaker determine what blends to make, help him do fermentations, do all of the lab work and maintain all of the lab equipment. I'm helping make the decisions that impact what goes into the bottle. That really affects the final product dramatically.
Part of my job as winemaker is working in the cellar, working with the barrels themselves, racking, topping, getting my hands dirty. And another big proportion of my day is often spent in the vineyards. So it's a nice blend of not too much office work, but a lot of physical, hands-on applications. I enjoy working in the winemaking side of the industry because I really like getting my hands dirty, and I love working with a natural product that we get to bottle and share with other people.
I went to school for landscape design and ended up moving to New Zealand and fell into the wine industry about 8,000 miles from home. It's a creative industry. I think the people in it are really great. It uses so many different facets. There's, the making of barrels. There's, the winemaking part of it. There's the glass bottles and packaging and design elements to it. There's also the farming side and biology with using yeast and stuff like that. So it's a combination between art and science. Someone who's dynamic, likes to know a little bit about a lot of things. Working with logistics and, figuring out how many gallons will fit into how many barrels, but also knowing the biology of yeast, but then all of the sensory portion of it, being able to taste when something is off or not right, and being able to taste when the wine is great and knowing the future of the wine when it will be excellent. Started out as an intern in New Zealand. Also here in Lake County, I started out as an intern at Steel Wines. For winemaking, I think the next step was to be a cellar worker. And the cellar workers, were pumping wine from tank to tank, filling barrels. And then the next step would be cellar master. After that, you could become an assistant winemaker. And then after that, with a little bit of schooling and getting the background information, biology, science that I was talking about, you could become a winemaker. This morning, I started out in the vineyard, looking at pruning and, kind of double checking that we're doing the right things to get quality wines. And then after that, I met with some engineers to look at some new tank installations at one of our facilities. This afternoon, getting interviewed for Cultivate. Probably later this afternoon, I'll be back to more spreadsheets and just making sure, gallons and dollars and everything match up. It's probably 50-50. There's a lot of science to it, but So having the science as the kind of background knowledge base, but on top of that, using your intuition and using art to make the right decision, I think is the balance. It doesn't necessarily take a degree or certificate. You know, I did a totally different degree with horticulture and landscape design, and I still ended up where I'm at today. I think learning on the job, listening, learning from other people, having a little bit of science background, chemistry, biology, just knowing the basics of that stuff will help. They're super fun people. You know, we have barbecues all summer long. It's a lot of hard work, and but you learn a lot of different things about chemistry, about biology, and learn about wine, and it's just a fun industry to be in.
My college, Sonoma State, had a wine business program. So I started taking all the wine classes, and then it started to be a little bit more fun and a little bit more engaging, and that's how I kind of started just having the program at my school. A lot of my friends were getting into the wine, and I didn't understand what was so great about it. But then once you start like just taking the classes, it was a lot more fun and so much more interesting. And living around this area with wine and vineyards everywhere, you kind of just get attracted to it. Pretty much I do all of the lab work, so checking like the alcohol on the wines, the sugars, pHs and the acids and all that stuff. So basically my day-to-day is just checking all the analysis on all of our wines. And I talk to our cellar master every morning, and I figure out what he has going on in the whole cellar and what he's doing, and then I kind of base my analysis off of that, and I'll write him work orders on if he needs to add like sulfur or something to the wine. So he waits for me to do some analysis, and then I put out a work order for him. I think it's like the end result, so once it's in the bottle and being shipped out, and then like if I go to the store and see it, and then you can see that that was a wine that you worked on or had some work in. That's kind of cool to see it finally in the store. I didn't actually go to school for becoming an enologist. I just started out as an intern here from doing my wine business. And then after intern, usually you can stay on the job, but doing internships, you get to learn like the whole facility, the whole winery, and then you can kind of figure out what you really want to do. Maybe 10 years, I think, if I continued on with the schooling and really tried to advance my career, I could go for a winemaker. I mean, I love my job and I love it, this winery, and I have so much fun, but the wine industry in general, I mean, being a part of something that's so popular, you know, there's so many people out there that love wine, and you get to be a part of making that, I think that's really cool.